welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from the world of sports, and we have plenty of action coming your way. Steven Gerrard showed again to the fans in Liverpool how much they will miss him once he's gone. Asia and Africa gear up for their Continental Football Championships, and we take a closer look at the Rally Dakar that began this week. All that and much more coming up. Let's get started. We begin with Liverpool, who faced Wimbledon in the third round of the FA Cup. It was a tough challenge against the 4th Division team, but the Mighty Reds are through thanks to the men who will not be there anymore this coming summer. Mathieu Taubman and Shai Ben-Ari with the story.
You know, I think the FA Cup final's on his birthday, isn't it? Yeah, so there's certainly no better way, and for him himself it would be a wonderful send-off for him. But a lot of games to play in between. You know, what we've targeted a cup victory this season.
Steven Gerrard understood what needed to be done against Wimbledon. The captain of the Reds once again was a decisive factor. Stevie G continued to carry his team on his shoulders as he led to their first goal. Despite being 34 years of age, Gerrard still has the legs and head to score crucial goals. Brendan Rodgers knows how to get the most out of the Englishman, an elite player on the pitch.
I've played him in a number of positions in my time because he's an incredible footballer. His intelligence and football brain is second to none. As you see there, he played in the top of that sort of midfield box. His creativity, his cleverness, his brightness, you've seen tonight. So, as I said, I use him as a playmaker for 18 months there, starting the games from behind when we had other players in the team up at the top, but obviously I moved him forward tonight, and he was outstanding.
Despite Gerrard's talent, Liverpool is not the same threat they once were. Wimbledon created chances and had a great equalizer from a corner. This fourth-tier club held one of the biggest teams in the Premier League.
A tough game overall. You know, we started the game quite well, but then gave the ball away cheaply. But second half we were much better.
While Liverpool was heading towards a disappointing draw, Steven Gerrard responded as he has done so often in the past. The eternal captain had a magnificent free kick to beat the keeper and put his team on top.
We got outdone by a world-class player in the end.
Steve Gerrard.
Yes, it's. I think the headline was written for him after the week he's just had, and I didn't want to be part of that positive for him.
A double that got his team through to the next round. He announced his departure last weekend, but the Liverpool captain proves he has the heart to go out a champion for the Reds.
The Italian league gets back to action, and we already have a giant match in hands tonight, the Derby d'Italia. Juventus will host Inter, and the visitors come to the match with their new acquisition. Lukas Podolski joined the Italian side on loan from Arsenal over the weekend. For the moment, the German striker is set to stay in Inter until the end of the season, but the move could be made permanent in the summer. Ahead of the match, his new manager, Roberto Mancini, spoke of the elements Podolski could bring to Inter and also about other potential candidates who could make the trip to San Siro.
We want to try to take players that can play in the wingers, or like a second striker, and Shaqiri, I think, that can play in every position. Lucas the same. Lucas can play like a first striker, second striker, wingers, like he played with Arsenal or the national team.
And while big European players are being traded in the transfer window, the big names of Asian and Australian football are all down under, making the final preparations for the Asian Cup that begins this coming Friday. The Socceroos, who lost in the final to Japan 4 years ago, are the clear favorites. The support of the home fans and the strong squad made up of players from the Bundesliga, the Premier League and the Belgian League have created high expectations for the Australians to win the trophy for the first time. The AFC is not the only continental tournament taking place, so is the African Cup of Nations, which will begin later this month. The health concerns and the protest of European teams giving their players are now all left aside as the teams get ready for the biggest event in African football. Lise Barenbaum and Michael Friedman introduce us to the big names we should look for.
It was almost canceled, but the Ebola virus that hit Africa will not prevent the Africa Cup of Nations from being played between January 17th and February 8th. Equatorial Guinea stepped in to replace Morocco, and the tournament brings together the best African footballers on the planet. However, its implications affect all major European championships. Unlike the World Cup, which is played in the summer, the African Cup of Nations takes place in the winter, which is a great challenge for many teams as African players have to leave their clubs. Many of them return exhausted and every major league is affected. Ligue 1 feels the effects most. Each team in France has at least one player called up for the tournament. Around 50 players will have to leave for Guinea. The most affected club is Metz with 6 departures. Lyon will also struggle in attack, the absence of Cameroon Niji and Guinea's Yatara. However, the star Lacazette will help the team in the meantime. Coach Hubert Fournier has proposed signing a striker to compensate the loss of 5 of his players. But the Lyon president, Jean-Michel Aulas, has rejected this initiative.
There will be no recruitment because it would be unhealthy economically, but also mentally. We must ensure that players who leave to play the African Cup of Nations find their place when they come back.
Marseille will also be missing 2 of their main players, N'Koulou and Ayew. The Premier League has no more than 15 players out of the tournament. The most affected is undeniably Newcastle, with the departure of Ivorian Shake Tiote in the midfield and Senegal striker Papis Demba Cissé. 7 English clubs will be without key stars. Tottenham will be missing Nabil Bentaleb, Liverpool's without defender Kolo Touré, and Manchester City will have to do without the great Yaya Touré. But fortunately for Chelsea, Didier Drogba decided to retire from international football. Spain will not suffer as much from the African tournament. Valencia's Safien Figuli was allowed to play against Real Madrid before joining his Algerian side a day late. Getafe's midfielder, Mehdi Lassane, will also leave. The main player in Spain is Cameroonian Stéphane Mbia, who plays for Sevilla. In Italy, 10 players will be missed by their clubs. Roma cannot count on Mali's Seydou Keita, nor its playmaker Gervinho, who is very excited to play for his African nation.
I hope it will be a great time for us. I want to go as far as possible in the World Cup or win the African Cup. It is not yet my big moment. My big moment, I think, is coming. My biggest achievement will be to win a cup for the Ivory Coast.
In Germany, the clubs have less to worry about. Only 6 Bundesliga clubs are affected by the tournament. 7 players have been called up, including such players such as Dortmund's Aubameyang or Salomon Kalou, who plays for Hertha Berlin. Europe will have to do without their African players for 3 weeks, and the clubs hope their recruits do not come back from Guinea too tired or too injured.
The elections for FIFA president will be held later this year, and a 3rd candidate is now in the game. Jordanian Royal Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, a close ally of UEFA President Michel Platini, announced plans to challenge the leadership of world's football governing body. The current FIFA vice president and head of the Jordanian Football Federation said he had been encouraged to stand for vote by colleagues unhappy with current President Sepp Blatter, who has been hit by endless corruption allegations. The 39-year-old prince will join Jérôme Champagne in challenging Blatter, who is widely expected to announce this month he will run for a 5th term in office. We turn our attention to the NBA now, where the Dallas Mavericks traveled to Brooklyn to face the Nets. Brooklyn made the first run, Dallas reacted, and after a very close 4th quarter, the game went to overtime, and there it seemed like the era simply ended for the Nets. The Mavs were pretty much the only team on the court. Dallas won 14-6 in OT to clinch the game 96-88, but that was just the appetizer. The real treat came with the final points of the game. Dirk Nowitzki nailed the 3-pointer, which gave him 15 in the game and 27,412 career points. This means he left the legendary Moses Malone behind. The German is now 7th in the NBA all-time scoring list. Shaquille O'Neal is the next target for the Germinator. Shaq has just about 1,000 points more than Nowitzki, so don't be surprised to find him soon at number 6. Cleveland was seen ahead of the season as one of the strongest candidates for the title, but their season had its ups and downs. These days, without injured LeBron James, they're definitely down. Last night, the Cavs lost to the Sixers, the worst team in the league. This is the 5th loss in 6 matches for Cleveland. Life without LeBron is very hard for coach David Blatt, who tries to explain what is the big star suffering from and when we should expect to see him back.
You know, you're going to have aches and pains, but, you know, this became an issue where he he really just couldn't play comfortably, you know, and a lot of things were said about, you know, just unfairly. I think, you know, the guy's been playing with a lot of pain and or some pain, you know, and we just decided enough, you know, let's shut him down, let's take care of the problem, let's get him back to feeling 100%.
The U.S. skiing team is in shock today after two of their skiers died in an avalanche in Austria yesterday. Ronnie Burlack and Bryce Eistel died in the incident near the Rettenbach Glacier, not far from Soldon, the venue for the annual season opening World Cup races. Burlack and Eistel were part of a group of 6 skiers training in the slopes once the avalanche started. The other 4 were able to escape unharmed.
It's a very sad day for the U.S. ski team, and not just for the team, but for our ski racing community as a whole. Skiers, whether they're athletes on the U.S. ski team or recreational skiers like all of us, you like to get out on the mountain and you like to ski, and you take precautions when you do. In this case, unfortunately, we had a tragic situation that occurred. Ronnie Burlack and Bryce Eistel were great young ski racers, and not only great ski racers, but they were really outstanding young men.
The 2015 edition of the Rally Dakar took off this week from Buenos Aires. The grueling competition will take riders and drivers through 9,000 kilometers in difficult terrain. And after years of domination of Volkswagen and Mitsubishi, there's a new contender. Peugeot was a dominant force in the Dakar Rally in the late 80s when the competition was still held in Africa. But then the Lion brand maker moved to other arenas. Now they're back to the Dakar with some big names driving for them. Lise Barenboim and Michael Friedman with a story that makes the 2015 Dakar even more interesting than usual.
The Lion brand is back. Peugeot is here to create the sensation at the Paris Dakar 2015, a situation that impresses many while at the same time raises questions. Today, with the DKR 2008, this impressive two-wheel drive buggy has many star drivers. Peugeot has great ambitions, as evidenced by the French driver Stéphane Peterhansel.
As usual, I am very enthusiastic and eager to start because we've been working for months with Peugeot for this Dakar 2015. A lot of energy was expended, a new car and a new team. Everyone needs to learn. We still need to test the car during the race, but anyway, I'm very happy to be there. This car is beautiful.
Between 1987 and 1990, the Dakar Rally was a great race in Africa, and Peugeot had 4 wins in a row thanks to Finnish drivers Ari Vatanen and Juha Kankkunen. Peugeot then abruptly left the rally to dedicate its time to the circuit world. Under the direction of the Frenchman Jean Todt, Peugeot has shined in the Dakar. But his beloved team then spent 6 years in Formula One without any success. Carlos Tavares arrived as the head of the group management. His passion for motor racing brought him back to the rally. He launched a new program called Back in the Race for Peugeot to get back on top. Obviously, this return brings great joy to the rally organizers.
It is a pleasure to see him back as a major player in world sports. He is a great manufacturer in the Dakar competition.
Sébastien Loeb of Citroën had a spectacular victory in the Pike Peak race in 2013. There were rumors he would leave for Buenos Aires, but not this time. Nevertheless, Peugeot has one of the greatest casts for this event. The Lion brand has chosen the top 3 names in an attempt to dethrone the Spaniard Nani Roma or Qatari Nasser Al Attiyah. 3 Peugeot drivers have won the race: Spaniard Carlos Sainz, Cyril Desprez, and record winner Stéphane Peterhansel, with 5 titles in cars and 6 in motorcycle races.
Since I've been a racing driver, I've had an urge to drive for Peugeot, a French manufacturer. For several months, we are in an adventure.
I think it happens so naturally. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and one not to miss in any case.
Peterhansel nevertheless fears competition from his former manufacturer, the Mini brand. But the defending champion, Nani Roma, already experienced serious difficulties with Mini this year.
Every year it's hard to win, but this year is a little more challenging. There are great drivers, great cars, like with Peugeot. For me, it's a new challenge.
Peugeot has suffered delays in developing the DKR 2008. This car was built from the 208 Peugeot series manufactured in Brazil. Peugeot wants to introduce their car in South America and has everything to gain from the media coverage at the race. A great impact for the world.
And we'll end our show with a very big question. Is the NFL on the way back to Los Angeles? Believe it or not, the second biggest market in the U.S. has no football team for the past 20 years. That may be finally changing as plans for a new 80,000-seat stadium in suburban Inglewood were unveiled as part of a bigger deal that may see the Rams move back from St. Louis to the City of Angels. The Rams used to play in LA until 1994 when they moved to the Midwest. And that's it for us today. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.